love you when I'm high.
So house music is a very difficult genre to produce very well. So today I have some 5 tips that can help you improve your house music productions so that you can elevate them from just sounding generic and boring to sounding super on brand with the house music styles that you listen to today. So let's get into it. The first thing about a lot of house tracks is you want to focus on vocals, because vocals really guide the direction of the track. For me, it's something I used to overlook a lot back in the day, but as you can see from the track you just heard right now, there is a vocal in it. So I started working on vocals, and it really opened up my mind and the opportunities of directions that I could take my track. So as you can see here on this track here, there's just one vocal. Like there's one vocal here, which is a vocal that I found from a vocal pack that I found online. And you can always find a lot of vocal packs online so that you can add vocals to your tracks. And what you can do is you can start with a vocal and then build around that vocal, or you can make a beat, and before you complete it and you produce maybe around 50%, then you add a vocal and start to mold the beat around that vocal to really complete it and see where you can take it from there. So when it comes to this track, I had a vocal that I had here, and then I used the vocal to build the track. So with just the vocal itself, I had an idea of what the vocal is doing, and then I started to create chords around it.
I only love you when I'm high.
So you can see my chords here. My chords are really simple. I didn't use too much piano. Like it was just literally like 2 notes in each chord. I didn't try and do too much. I just kept it very simple, but it sounded great as a composition. I could have gone crazy with the chords, and I can still improve on the chords to make them even nicer, but the core idea I wanted here was really simple. It's just to find a sound which is chord-like that can work with the vocals so I can have an idea. So I created this. So that's where vocals really shine, because they give you an idea of where to go, because most people know a lot of chords. You know minors, you know majors, you know so many variations of chord, and sometimes you get confused with whether to make chords that go up or go down or what kind of sequence. So now all that confusion leads you to just make a mumbo jumbo of production that doesn't really make any sense and has no direction. So when you have a vocal, it guides you straight up to exactly what you need to do. So don't sleep on vocals. You can look at vocals or even work with vocalists that can supply you with vocals, and you can work with them so that you can always have a foundation for a song through the vocals to work on. Next thing is minimalist production, right? Because less is more. So I see a lot of producers try and do too much as they're composing their music, which for me is just like overdoing things, but while doing nothing at the same time. So as you can see with this track here, it sounds really good, but it doesn't have much. Like how many tracks do I have here? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I just have 12 tracks in this whole production here, just 12, nothing more. But in the past, I used to make tracks with like 50 to almost 100 tracks, and I'm still not happy with the production. But now I'm finding myself being very happy when I produce minimally like this. Like as you can see here, I just have a simple chord, like the chord I played for you before here, which is just playing here. And then I added some bass sounds here, which we're gonna touch on a little bit later. And then it's just a couple of drums here. So I kept everything very minimal and just, with the vocal itself. And the idea of the track is really coming together. So when you simplify all these things, your groove can really make sense, and the idea of the track can really come together nicely. So you don't want to over-layer things before your core idea is realized. So that's why minimal production is really important when you're making house music, especially in the early stages of it. So I spoke about basses before, so here it is. So that's my next point about when it comes to bass. Bass is really important in house music. It's like a groovy thing that we use to really, hold the vibe of a track together. So what you want to do with house music is you don't just want to create generic bass lines. If you create generic bass lines, it's okay for certain tracks, and if you're trying to follow certain popular tracks, you can do that. But when it comes to house music, you want to really make unique basses that are memorable, because for me, bass is kind of like also a melodic element that you add in your track. So when you start to create basses, you want to find ways to make unique ones, and not just unique in sound, but unique in how you compose them. So for me, I always encourage using multiple basses. So you usually just have one channel for bass, just like you have one channel for strings and chords and things like that. But you can also have multiple channels for basses, right? So you can see the bass that I have in this track here. So if I solo just the basses, you'll see that I have this Megalodon bass, I have this Metro bass, and also another one called sliding structure bass right here. So if I play them all together, they sound like this. And if I bring in my kick, I could have never managed to do this if I was just using just one bass channel. It was going to be super difficult. And most people, when they listen to this, people that are interested in production, they'll wonder like, how the hell did he make such dynamic, such unique bass like he did? But it's because I used multiple basses. So the first sound is this Megalodon bass here. It just goes like that. So this is a patch that's an Alchemy right there. It doesn't have a lot of low frequencies, as you can see, but it does have some body down there, so it is a bass sound itself. Then I have that other Metro bass right there. So they're just all playing short notes, and if I add the sliding texture bass, so this one is holding notes a bit longer. So people could ask me like, yo, what kind of bass did you use? What kind of did you use? I'll be like, yo, it's not just one simple bass. It's a collection of different basses that I use to create a unique bass that is unique to this track that you won't find anywhere else. So people cannot just copy your bass and find the same patch that you used and then they can just recreate your bass. So that's a way you can create something unique, something people didn't hear before, which makes your track really special. The next thing is make simple drums. Like if you add simple drums, it's also a good place to start, and don't overcrowd the beat with drums. So again, with this track, I played you the kick right here. So let me bring back the chords right here. Matter of fact, let me bring them back. And as you can see, I've got the kick right there, and then a shaker comes in. So now you can tell the groove is right there. So then I started to add more sounds later on in the track. Like I added that percussion right there. And then later on in the track, I also add a drum loop right there for drums. As the track is going. So I kept my drums really minimal without overcrowding the track, because the more you keep adding drums to them, the more you start to shift away from the core rhythm that you had, because when it comes to drums, it's all about rhythm. And also at the same time with drums, you want to make sure you have the correct drums for the kind of house music you want to make. If you're looking for house music drums and things like that, you can check out the link that's down below. I have the most beautiful high quality sounds that you can get on the internet right now for house music, which are curated for all styles of house music you can download. So make sure to check them out so you have the best house music drums you can get, so that you can make sure that your drum selection is on point, and also loops as well, because they really help in just filling in all those sonic pockets that you might be missing when you're composing your own drums. Okay, so the last thing I'm going to say is that you need to have correct arrangement when it comes to your house music. This is something a lot of people fail. Their arrangements are just always all over the place, and they don't really make sense and be coherent in the track itself. So you find out that a lot of tracks, they do sound good, but it doesn't make any sense. So a really powerful tip that I learned that also involves vocals is that add sounds when the vocals change. In this track, I was adding sounds as the vocals changed. Let me show you exactly how, right? So you see, the first line that is there on the track is this one. So this repeats. So it's going to repeat again right there. And then on this next bar here, it changes right there. And then I have a drum that comes right there. So then I added this percussion sound right there when the vocal did change, right? So that, to kind of signal that there's a change right there. It's not being repetitive, to really signal that there is a change, so that the song is dynamic. And then it didn't end there. As the track was going, as the vocals were changing again on this next part here, where you see this snapped up plucks sound comes in, there's also a change in the vocal, hence a change also in the beat itself. So if I play back from here, so then I added that sound here, which is the snapped up plucks, which is this pluck sound that I also picked up from Alchemy. So it's also signaling that, something is happening. So that creates a build-up of sounds and a build-up of emotion and energy as the track is going, because you keep adding sounds as the vocals are changing. Again, like I said, vocals really help guide you to know when to add sounds. Because some people ask me questions like, yo, when do I know when to bring in a certain sound and when not to bring it in? But this is a nice way for you to figure out where to bring it in. But if you're making a beat without vocals, it's going to be difficult for you to know when to introduce sounds and take them out. So I usually say you can just use bars. Like if you count your bars, like maybe every 16 bars you introduce something new, or even 8 bars if you want to. Although 8 bars are a little bit too short, I would recommend 16 bars for you to introduce something new, right? And then right here at the end, well, not at the end, but in the middle right here, you can see that I introduced this drum loop right here. So there's a break. So that loop comes in when the vocals actually come out, and then it comes in to fill in that emptiness, because when you take out the vocal, people are going to feel like there's a little bit of emptiness that's happening now. But then by me adding this drum loop, it just adds something new to replace the vocal that was there to give the track a refreshing sound. And then later on at the end right here, I brought back the vocal, but then I took out a lot of sounds. I took out the strings, I took out the percussions that I had already been building up before, so that the track can breathe nicely and the vocals can come back with more impact and, you know, being more focused on. So take a listen. Just like that, you see how everything just went quiet, and it did that because we were building a lot of energy, so we needed to give it a little bit of release at the end right there. So hopefully these tips can be really helpful to you, and they can help you improve your music so that making house music cannot be super difficult, because it's not an easy genre by any stretch. So hopefully this will help you. If you found it helpful, make sure to drop this video a thumbs up, and I would also appreciate it if you subscribe. So make sure to also check out the videos that I have here on the channel where I show you how to produce from scratch. Trust me, I believe in you guys. You will make really good house music if you follow all these tips and all the tutorials I have here on the channel. But I'm gonna see you in my next video. Everything is in your hands now. Get to producing. I'm X and I'm out. Peace.